Direction to true value.
Continue 300 meters, then 2.1 kilometers, continue 3.5 kilometers.
Direction to true value.
300 meter north on Munaran Street, 1.2 kilometers east on Patna Street, 1 kilometer north on Long Circular Road.
Which was the better direction, the first one or the second one? The first one just gave magnitude, and the second one gave magnitude and direction. The second direction will get me to true value Long Circular Road. Today we are going to learn about vectors. We're going to learn what is a vector, draw some vectors, and discuss different types of vectors. So what is a vector? A vector is a quantity with both magnitude and direction. We can use an arrow to represent a vector. The arrowhead shows the direction and the length shows the magnitude of the vector. There are several notations for a vector. There's a common letter, capital letters with an arrow above, and column. So let's draw some vectors. Before we get started, we need to note that movement to the right and upward is positive, and to the left and downward is negative. So if you remember the Cartesian plane, so the x is left to right and up and down is the y. So when you write the column vectors, the x value is on top and the y value is below. To get the x and y value, you need to draw a triangle connecting the tail of the arrow to the head of the arrow. So PQ, we start at P, going 3 big blocks to the right, then 2 big blocks upwards. So PQ is 3, 2. When drawing A, we go 2 big blocks to the left and 2 big blocks downwards. So A is negative 2, negative 2. X, we do not go either left or right, but we go downwards 4 times. So X is 0, negative 4. AB, we go 5 big blocks to the right and 1 big block downwards. So right is positive and down negative. So as a column vector, AB is equal to 5, negative 1. XY, we go 3 big blocks to the left and we don't go up or down. So XY is equal to negative 3, 0. To draw a vector, we need a grid. You can use a graph page or draw some grids on in your notebook. Remember always to go from left or right, then you can go up or down. So let's do the first vector, which is xy is equal to 1, 1. So 1 is the x and the y value. So first we choose a point. Because they didn't state to start from the origin, we could start anywhere on the grid. So we use the point x and we go 1 unit to the right because it's positive, and 1 unit up because it's also positive. We label that where we end, y, and we draw a line, a straight line from x to y, and we put our arrow to show the direction of the vector. So let's do our next example. Let's do AB is equal to 1, 2. So as I said before, the top number is x and the bottom is y. So 1 is the x value and 2 is the y value. So we choose a point, we label it A, we go 1 unit to the right because it's positive, and 2 units up because it's also positive. We put that point as B, and we draw a line AB and an arrow, and that's our vector. I hope you all are understanding. So let's do CD. So again, 2 is the x value, 4 is the y value. So we label point C. We go 2 units to the right and 4 units up. We label that point D, and we draw a line from C to D. We put our arrow. Now these things are very important. The arrow showing the direction and labeling C and D is very important. Alright, so let's do our next one. A is equal to 1, negative 3. So pay attention to the negative. So 1 is the x value and negative 3 is the y value. So we label, well, in this case we label at the end. So we start at a point, we go 1 unit to the right, and then we go 3 units downwards. Pay attention, because it's negative, we have to go downwards. So it'll be 3 units downward. Right, so we connect from the starting to the end, and we draw an arrow showing which way we went, and we label the line, which the vector A. Right, so let's do our next one, B. So B is negative 1, 3. We start at a point. In this case, it's negative 1. So we go 1 unit to the left, then 3 units upwards because it's positive. We connect, draw an arrow, label it B. Right? Then X, next question, next vector, X is equal to negative 3, 4. We get our point, we go 3 units to the left, and then 4 units upwards. Connect, draw arrow, label it X. Then Y is 3, negative 4. So we get our starting point. We go 3 units to the right and 4 units downwards. We connect, draw an arrow, label Y. I hope you all understand. We call this vector a unit vector because it has a magnitude of 1. There are also parallel vectors. These are vectors that are parallel to each other. And we know what parallel means. They are lines that do not touch and have the same distance between them at all times. An inverse vector are vectors that are parallel but goes in opposite direction. Equal vectors are vectors that are equal. They have the same magnitude and direction.